Hi, just a heads up, the first half of this video is video highlights and I put a generic jingle in the background to be less boring. Anyways, here it is. Okay, so that was the jingle. I hope you enjoyed it. Now I'm going to start talking about the features. Right here is the real-time charting view. I have Apple stock and I just put a call order. You can set like several time intervals that the contract will expire. You can also do Forex exchanges like monetary exchanging. And then NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange. It's all simulated, it's fake. I have a Golang service that actually does it. So this is me like adding different charts, and I'm putting in a bunch of orders. And right here is the view showing the orders are completed, and then like my revenue and different metrics throughout the day. And you can see my active transactions or holdings at that moment. This is like a popular or like common exchanges as they happen in real time. Here's the symbol view in card form. It's like individual tickers or symbols, similar to the real-time charting part, only that you get to see a spread of multiple indices that you are tracking, as well as just other ones, and you can possibly short or long a different position using that. It'll also have the proportion of ask and bids, and so you can better predict, but I haven't got to that part yet. Okay, so I'm going over right there. I just circled. That's my profit at that moment. I have two current transactions that will expire soon. Now I'm going to bid another 1 minute holding position, call position for what that was. And see, I'm just going through it. You can change the number of that you hold, as well as, the volume as well as like the type, if you want to short it or long it, and then the amount of time it's going to expire. Right here, I'm watching different positions expire and seeing the profit that I've made and changes, and it keeps adding on to it, so that I can look at it. Each one has like the different volume over that certain period of time with the ask and bid positions, and then also the ratio differences. So yeah, you can see like you get the volume traded to your current total. I haven't really thought about what metrics would be important yet. Just put something there. Just keep in mind that this is an early build. I've only been working on it for a few weeks, so I'll keep posting videos as more features get built out throughout the development. Here you can see it's pretty much everything's drag and drop throughout the app. Right here is what will be the analytics platform, but it's just a few widgets, and it'll be able to be extremely customizable, draggable, resizable, and everything as well, and will allow you to create your own kind of dashboard. Another feature I'd like to point out is the connected indicator, and right now you can see me turning off the Wi-Fi. So what this lets you know is either you're disconnected from the Wi-Fi or you're not connected to the real-time streaming. This way I can turn on and turn off a certain functionality, and it's obvious to the end user that why you don't get streaming when there's no internet. And this way I also can put things in local storage and make sure I've managed session state so that when it comes back on, the features are back on. Okay, now I'm going to talk about mostly design and how the app kind of works and why I built it. First, I'll start with the market data streams, like how it all works out. Originally, I had a Node service, or no, from Node. I just used Socket.io, and I just had a historical list of OLC data from, I forgot what exchange, and I would loop over that. array and emit it out to everybody. But then I realized I kind of want to split it out in services, so I built a Golang because it has really good concurrency. I can easily send out like multiple sockets and without having to really worry about the application too much. So I ended up building out a microservice, which you can see here. This is like just a index page, so you can just test it out. What you do is you have to click any of the exchange things, and then you subscribe to it. Once you click it again, you unsubscribe to it, and that's essentially how it works in the app. But this is just so you can actually experience it streaming to your console. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about charts and how and why I chose what I did. But before I do that, I'd kind of like to show an earlier piece of the different charting technology I used and explain why I didn't go with it. Okay, so as you can see here, more than 3 weeks ago, before I started this application, I was testing out SVG-based graphs right here, like you see here. Now, this doesn't have like real-time streaming or anything. This actually just hits a API and gets like a year-long's worth of historical market data. And I was just testing it out where you can just like add different charts and look over different parts. And it was great, especially for displaying historical data, or data doesn't need to be real-time. So there are two main reasons why I decided not to use SVGs, even though normally I would, for graphing this data. Mainly comes down first being performance. SVG elements are DOM elements. Now they're not like HTML, there's less computed properties so they perform better, but they are still DOM elements, which has its advantages and disadvantages, but in this case it'd be clearly a disadvantage. The reason why is because I'll be adding and subtracting all sorts of, and manipulating these data points as they come in at an interval of 200 milliseconds. This would be a lot for the browser to compute, which ties into my second point, React. As you can see here, I included an SVG that I actually use in my application, represented in JSX, just like all HTML elements. For this particular instance, since it doesn't need to be added or removed, it's just fine to be in the virtual DOM and work the way it does. For example, this is what that piece of code represents. It is the animated values that happen after each time a position expires. What's great about SVGs is the fact that you can apply classes, and a lot of the actual computation is done by the DOM itself. But there's also another reason why, and in this case, it's more performant. But for graphing thousands of pieces of data over a really short period of time, it's best to use a canvas. Now here's an example of a canvas that I use within an application that's not the graph. These tick cards are actually just divs with a canvas inside. Now, canvases take a lot more extra work because essentially it is just a bitmap. Nothing is calculated for you. You have to render everything in every frame or different change yourself, and it doesn't. If there is any kind of responsive design, you have to actually listen to it and resize with it. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks of using Canvas is blurry text. Because it's hands off of the browser and it's not nothing inside the canvas is computed, that means that you don't get anti-aliasing or any different optimizations that the browser does to make text look good. Now, the reason why I still use Canvas, even though it's kind of annoying, is simply because this data changes very rapidly, and I don't want to have React's diffing algorithm always constantly checking and having the data constantly updating, especially since these tickers are like fleeting moments, so it's better to have a stateless component. Up next, I'll discuss features I'll be adding to the application. Feature number 1, Economic Trade Data Visualizer. What I want to build is a very interactive graphing and charting world map application that allows users to compare and contrast data or the same set of data in different ways so they can maybe try to glean some new insights. Although I haven't started the graphing part of this feature, you can see some of the objects I'll be sending back from web scrap data from one of the sources. And right now I need to work actually on the back end part, normalizing the information and being able to send it back. Here on GitHub you can look at the web scraper I have right now, which just sort of goes through and picks out all this data that I will be using. I could use this data to compare and contrast different countries' historical trading trends, and maybe you can like look at how one country might be a proxy for another. For example, what the difference of their import and exports are, see if there's any imbalances. Another feature I'm planning on building is a Akka microservice, and it'll do something like take in a bunch of news articles and map and reduce them, and sort of do a sentiment analysis or something to maybe have like a metric on like general mood. This actually ties into the last feature I just spoke about, because originally I'm going to build out this Akka microservice to simply just parse through to HTML and spit out information. But later I will figure out cooler different uses. Well, that's it. I'll post another video when these features are built, and thank you for watching.